The amp envelope is what shapes the volume characteristics of a note over time. And it's a very powerful way to shape instruments and sounds. And here I've got two disparate instruments loaded in, one from the synth category and one from the mallet category, and they sound nice on their own. And you layer them together, and they work okay. But by editing the amp envelope, we can come up with a lot of interesting variations. Now I'm going to start by just taking the active layer here. We'll go in here and we'll see that in the group editor there are two layers, but really it's the first layer that I want to take here. I'll solo them. That's what I want. So let's copy, because that's got a sharp attack characteristic to it, which can be interesting and useful to work with. So we're going to copy the selected group and close it up, and let's just mute this one and we'll work with this second instrument for now. So that's what we have. We'll go into the group editor and we'll paste in our new group. Let's just listen to what's going on here. I'll solo the group. It's really not doing anything. In fact, the volume's all the way down. So let's just not worry about that group. So I'm going to paste in the group that we just took. All right, first thing is I'm going to just tune this up an octave. We'll do group solo, and we'll work with this. So I want to explore the amp envelope, and that is the one that's tied to volume. So here's the volume. I can click under modulation. Here's the amp envelope. Click the quick jump button, and it takes us to the modulation area. And this is what we're working with. So to start with, let's get it shorter. I'm going to reduce the decay time and the sustain. So we just hear that pluck. And now we can layer that in. Let's bring the volume up so we hear what it's doing. So that's one way of influencing the attack of a sound, by layering another percussive sound with a nice short attack. Let's save this as a new instrument, and I'm going to put it into the assets that I'm providing for you, and I'll just save it loose here for now, and we'll call it Fun with Amp Envelopes. And now that we have that here, let's save some snapshots, and we'll save this first snapshot, and we'll move on. Maybe instead of a percussive attack, I'll use this second sound, let me solo it for a moment, to swell up after the initial attack of the first sound. I'm going to slow the attack down here, and we'll increase the sustain and decay. And we can curve the attack. And let's hear how that blends with the other layers. That's another interesting variation. Let's save that as another snapshot. Let's go for another variation where we're going to have a really quick decay and no sustain. In other words, a short sound for both of the layers. So for this one, again, let me just go into solo mode here. Let's slow this down. So fairly short like that. And let's play with the filter a little bit. Give it a bit of an attack in the filter envelope like that. And now let's solo this one. And let's play with the ADSR on this, the AHDSR. So quick attack. I'm going to shorten the release. And let's hear the two together. And let's blend them. And again, we can play with the filter on this a bit as well. Here we go. And together. Let's adjust the blend. So a nice percussive sound. And let's save that as a snapshot as well now. Here's another nice variation. I'll solo one group at a time. Here's the first one, and I've got it set now for a slow attack, and then it holds for a bit and then dies down with a decay and a lower sustain, so it causes a bit of a swell and then an ebbing in the sound. So swells up, holds for a moment, and then dies down. And on this layer, I've changed the filter settings slightly, and here I've got a full-on straight attack, nice long sustain, and just a normal release. And again, played with the filter a little bit, just to get the cutoff where I want it. And the two together. So a nice blending of envelopes where you get a nice sharp attack and then a nice swell up and hold. So let's save this snapshot. And let's just look back on these variations that we've come up with. And then the next one. All with simple amp envelope alterations being used to create these variations and a little bit of filter cutoff changes in value. So that's an idea of how we can use the amp envelope to work with the factory library and combine different components in interesting ways. See you for more in the next video.